Aimee at EuroLuxHome.com. Welcome back to YouTube. Do you know we are celebrating 20 years at EuroLuxHome.com this month? We are so proud. And so I thought it would be really fun to tell you all about how we got started and why we're still here. So let me set the stage for you. All the way back to 2000, Greg and I were dating. Greg is now my husband and a bit camera shy, but we both were in Columbia, South Carolina, and I was going to the Darla Moore School of Business at the University of South Carolina. Greg had already graduated and was working. And I decided that it would be really fun to take an entrepreneurship class. And Greg was sort of interested in it too, and so it was something that we were going to work on together. And so Greg actually came up with the name EuroLux as European luxury. And the idea was to import European luxury cars on the gray market, which is not illegal, it just means it's different than normal channels. And so by the end of the semester, we came to the conclusion it just didn't work. And so I was graduating and it was time to move on. And at that time, Greg was offered a position in Germany. Now, we both, with our MBAs in international business, had focused on German language training, so that wasn't a problem. And Greg was offered a position with Terex, which is a global manufacturer of materials processing equipment. And that company had purchased a German company, and so Greg was brought over to Germany to lead the transition to US accounting standards. So we thought about it, it seemed really exciting, it seemed really scary, what should we do? We just decided we'd take the plunge and we would move to Germany. So right there at that period of time, I graduated from business school, turned 30, got married, moved to an international location, and started a new job. Talk about stress. That was a lot of things going on at one time. And it was really challenging to live in Germany. Now, I got a job at a company called Chorus, which was a manufacturer of steel, and I was in marketing. So not as exciting as beautiful European antiques, but it was a really good experience. It was really hard, very challenging. One way I describe it is that you don't have a full vocabulary to fully express who you are. For instance, in English, I know 10 different words that mean blue, just different shades of blue. But in German, I know blue. And so I can't really fully express myself. So that was sort of frustrating, but you know, we both rose to the challenge of working in a foreign language every day. And then outside of work, we were also assimilating into a foreign culture, which was also tricky. You know, sometimes just going to the post office was really hard to figure out how to mail a package. But I have to say that living in a foreign environment right after you get married is a great way to start a marriage, because it was really like the two of us together against the world, and we really had to just count on each other and be there for each other through really hard times. And so I think that that's part of the secret of our success, is having been there together and pulling through together in those early days before we even started the company. So we also traveled all over Europe while we were there. We were in Germany for almost 3 years, and we really made the most of all of the vacation time that they give you. And so we traveled all over. Now, at this time, we had bachelor and bachelorette furniture, and we started going to antique markets, because that's what you do when you're an expat, meaning someone living and working overseas. And so we just fell in love with European antique furniture, and we were going to museums when we traveled and saw the beautiful antique furniture there. But the whole time we hadn't forgotten about that semester project that we did back at USC. And we still had this idea of importing some European luxury good into the US, but we couldn't figure out what it would be. And then one day we realized, oh, our hobby, antiques. We love antiques. And so we decided that we would write the business plan. And we worked on it for a little while. It seemed like it might work, but we knew from business school we needed to do some market research. So we went around and we took pictures of all of the antique furniture, and then when we came home on holiday, we took those pictures to a place in South Carolina that's really known for antiques, Camden. And we went to some of the top antique dealers there and showed them our pictures, and we're like, what do you think? And they said, yeah, you will never sell the first piece of that. And man, we were deflated. And we thought, well, you know what? We might just be crazy enough and bullheaded enough to do it anyway. We decided that either we would crash and burn or we'd make it. And we really talked about it a lot, and we were really at a good point in our lives to try it. And if we never tried it, we thought we would always wonder and we would regret never taking the plunge. And so that's what happened in 2004. We quit our jobs and moved back to the US in order to start EuroLux. And at that time it was called EuroLux Imports. So we moved back, we bought a building, we brought in our first container, and we were so excited. I remember when the sign went up. We bought a big, huge, expensive sign that said EuroLux Imports. And I was so proud watching that sign go up. Here we were building something out of nothing. And then it turned out that big, expensive sign was one of our biggest mistakes, right, starting off, because we didn't realize that the word imports, a lot of people thought that meant cheap reproduction furniture, not good quality at all. And even though we tried to explain that, no, these were really authentic antiques that we were importing from Europe, it just didn't get expressed. So that is how we got started as EuroLux. So come back next week and I'll tell you all about the early days, some of our other mistakes that we made, and some of our triumphs too. Thanks so much for following EuroLuxHome.com here on YouTube. Be sure to like this video, maybe even share it with a friend. See you next time.